All right, thanks. Okay, so this presentation is called Self-Supporting Applications Using Log Files. Fundamentally, it's just talking about log files, which is something that I'm very passionate about. Anyone who's worked at software knows how passionate I am about log files, and sometimes they try and change them and they can cause problems, but that's all good. The aim of this presentation is to show how using log files in a thorough way can significantly reduce the amount of time you need to spend supporting applications, especially when they are located remotely. So that's what we're going to aim towards in this lightning talk. So firstly, what is a log file? I went to Google, just said, what is a log file? This is the information that I got. The key parts of the definition really is that they say it's a textual data file used for collecting events, process messages and actions, and for helping to detect error conditions. And the reason why we want to use them is to help us to debug faster, understand user behavior, and in some cases, although I wouldn't really be a huge proponent of it, we can use it for data analysis. And who should be using it? Well, I've added that on. I think all software developers should be using log files. You should build them into your templates. You should build them into your reuse code, build them into your frameworks, do it as much as you can. Invest in it and encourage your customers to use them, and that's when you get the best results. So because it's 2025, I thought, hey, Google's not good enough. Let's go to AI and see what it says. So I went to ChatGPT and I put in a prompt and I said, what are the best options for developing log files in a LabVIEW software application? And it actually provided some pretty good advice. One of the suggestions was using a dedicated logging loop as a background task. Fantastic. That's the way to do it. Did talk about TDMS, and that's not really what we're after here. We're talking about logging events, actions, etc. TDMS is more around collecting data, so I wasn't so interested in that. But it did mention some really good points, which I think are the key for most log files. Timestamps, levels for your logging, rotation and filtering. So in terms of rotation, what it means by that, because I had to go to ChatGPT and ask about that as well, that's just referring to the strategy around managing your log files when they get too big, how you store them in folders, how you archive them, etc. So that's just the name for the strategy. I think most of us are familiar with that, but it's a new term, so it's good to see that ChatGPT can teach an old dog like me something about LabVIEW and log files. What was really interesting with ChatGPT was that if you actually follow it through, it said, oh, do you want me to put something together for you? It was actually able to generate a reasonable working solution using producer consumer, log to a text file. Those two lines at the bottom were an output from a log file example generated by ChatGPT. And it's not too bad. You've got square brackets, you've got a timestamp, got a couple of tags there, and a message that goes with it as well. So as a starting point, you're doing pretty well with that. But in practice, text-based logs do have some limitations. I think someone earlier today mentioned no one likes to look at large amounts of text. It's just unwieldy to work with. So there are some limitations with a text-based log file. Firstly, you're restricted to text. You can't see any images, you can't embed links, can't really use much in the way of data structures. Everyone, I'm sure, has had the experience where they've collected some data in a log file or even somewhere else. They're opening it, they're looking at it, the application's still running, it's trying to read to it, it can't because there's a conflict because it's already open and end up screwing everything up. And if you're logging to a text file, you're kind of stuck with that. And of course, it's visually unappealing. And what we want to do is we want to take it to the next step. I want to build log files that engineers want to use and they want to encourage my customers to use. So how do we make them fun? How do we encourage the operators to use them? And how do we encourage our developers to use them throughout all their development code? And for us, the answer is actually HTML. So think about it. HTML is effectively a glorified notepad, but you've got all these little extras you can put in there as well. You can put in color, very simple. Straight away, your eye's drawn to the color when you're looking for stuff. You can highlight key events, errors in red, warnings in purple if you want, and we'll see those in a very little demo I'm doing. What I like to do and encourage is if you're doing producer consumer, is in all of your consumer loops, every time you pull something off the queue, log it, put it in bold, and you can see straight away, even in that example on the left there, I can see there's an MES call to try and get a material lot, put the argument in italics, so that's, again, drawing your attention to what is a key bit of information about what the application was doing. And below that, there's a link to the XML file so that I can go straight away and actually look at that if that's the cause of my problem. And when you're looking at a very large log file, seeing those bits in bold telling you where the key steps were is a really good way of looking through that log file in a quick way without trying to search for stuff when it's just all in one single text file. The other advantage with HTML is we can embed links. We can embed links to files. We can embed links to images. We can embed links to other log files. If you've got a multi-station application, you can have a master log file with links to all the different stations that might be doing different things. Put them in there, and you can easily just traverse through and see how all your error messaging is happening. All right, I'm going to very quick demo. It's one of those things that's hard to sort of show in 7 minutes. I could have talked for 2 hours on this, let's be honest. Here's a little bit of code here, basic log file demo, VI here. Here's the block diagram. All I'm doing is I'm creating a log file. This add text is adding lines, and then as different buttons are pressed, it's just adding simple things to the log file. Let's play that. Can you guys see that? I did try and make things bold because I know the screen's not great. So press different buttons. That's going to add stuff to the log file. I've got a function here to view the log. So in all of our applications, we usually just say, if you press F9, it just launches the log file straight away. So you press it, up it comes. Built in, we've got this header section here, which is really useful. That's why I knew port 3363. It's actually in the top of all of our log files. I was wondering why it came to me so quickly. I think I had a project years ago where we were using a VI server and customers were changing around. So I put the port up there because that's a quick check to say, oh, they've screwed around with that again. That's why it's not working. So they're the type of things we put in our header. It's like, it's not working because I can't open a file. Oh, look, you're not logged in as an administrator. It's not working because I can't see the button. Oh, your screen size is 1024 by 760. A whole bunch of things that you get straight away that I know as an experienced, I like to think myself as an experienced developer, is I can look at that and go, okay, yeah, that should be working. And you'll see every button press I did, it's logged the timestamp and the actual event. And I can do a few other little things here. I can take an image. This is linked up to my webcam. Excellent. It's a log file, so it's still running. I can press F5, and there you go. It's added that new line. Look at that cool, love you programmer. That's the way we do it here. And yeah, I can just keep logging things as we go along. If I want to scan a barcode, haven't got a barcode scanner here. Oh, look, it's generated an error. How cool is that? It's come up in red. Looking through a log file, you see those bits are red straight away and you go, that's what happened. That's where the error first started, and everything from there, will help you work out what's actually gone on. And it's giving me a nice little error message here because we're building some error handling. Unable to initialize barcode scanner, no barcode reader set up for demo. And that's based on having a little bit of code here to define the specific reason for why that error came up. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can put in there. I'm almost finished, thankfully. So I'll keep pressing buttons. What we find is if you can link to configuration files, but if you're doing initial part of development where you're playing with the configuration files, it's nice to actually just dump that whole file in the log file so then you can work out what's changed if there's particular errors you're chasing up. So that comes up in green, so you can see that nice and easily. We can link to, that's actually a print to PNG for a front panel object. You can obviously print your whole front panel and embed that as an image. That can be useful sometimes to see what the operator is actually seeing when you're looking at an issue. Link to XML files, etc. Yeah, we love it. I love it. I love my log files, and everyone who works for software loves my log files too. Otherwise, they don't. Talk about this for 2 hours. I couldn't. Yeah. I think we fit on a sweet spot here. Right. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. So, what do I get out of this? Why have we invested in this? Why do we promote it so much? Why do I gently encourage all our staff to use them as much as possible? Log files are the key to our support. We've got lots of customers in lots of places around the world. They ring us up or they email us and say, I'm having a problem. And for me, the ideal support lifecycle, it looks something like this. You give them an application, they ring you up and they say, I've got an issue. And you go, okay, can I have the log file? You have a look at it. You see that the application has been launched from the wrong folder. You tell them, okay, you resolve the issue. Next time they ring you up, they say, I've got this issue and here's the log file. Great, excellent, stage 2. You resolve the issue. You see through the log file that, they're not running as the application as administrator. You sort of show it to them and they're starting to pick up a trend here. Phase 3 is like, oh, look, I checked the log and I got this error and I hadn't seen it before. And you think, great, you've saved me some support already. Exactly. So you work with them, you identify the issue, they go away happy going, this is great support. And then the best phase, the last phase, is where you go and see the customer and go, yeah, we had some problems last week, but I had a look at the log files, able to resolve it. And you think, fantastic. self-supporting applications using log files. I'm done.